Hello, candle lovers. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Greg, and this is all about candles. And I have a review for you today from Goose Creek. I just finished up this warm and welcome candle. And I think that this packaging is really lovely. It's a little bit too sort of like hometown country field for my sort of taste preferences. But it's nice, and it looked really pretty when it was burning. It's almost like this candle glows even when it's not burning. So no real complaints about the packaging at all. Boring Goose Creek lid on there. The scent notes on warm and welcome are vanilla cashmere, marshmallow cream, white mocha, and warm amber. And sing it with me. These are a few of my favorite things. A lot of you folks in the comment section, a lot of you guys recommended this candle to me. I've only been burning Goose Creek for a little bit over a year now. And so I still get really excited about Goose Creek candles because there's still so much that I haven't tried. And so many of you were telling me that this candle was going to be right up my alley. And I owe you all a big round of applause and thanks because I did indeed love this candle. I think it's a beautiful fragrance. It's a very, very low ranging candle, Vanilla cashmere, marshmallow creme, white mocha, warm amber. It's a very, very warm, bassy fragrance. There's really nothing in terms of top notes in here. The closest thing that you get to a top note is maybe a little bit of the sweetness from that amber actually runs pretty high, but the other scent notes are really in a lower register. There is something just a teeny bit slightly mocha about it, but it's definitely not like a coffee or an espresso fragrance in any way. It's more of almost a sort of warm chocolatey mocha note. However, it's definitely not a chocolatey fragrance either. I'd say that predominantly it's a vanilla amber cashmere fragrance with a really nice, smooth, deep sweetness to it. You read some of those scent notes and you think that it might sit in a more of a medium range and that maybe that marshmallow or that mocha note might be highly pitched. But this is actually a very sort of reserved fragrance, but in a good way. It's subtle without being weak. I love fragrances like this that are sort of in that sort of gourmand category, but they're not a bakery vanilla cupcake or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's thanks to that amber note. That amber note sort of gives it sort of an earthy vibe as well, along with the cashmere. And it's a simple but also interesting fragrance. It's simple, but also complex. I really, really like this one. And I know that a lot of Goose Creek lovers love this candle. It seems like this candle's been around for a while, and it's very frequently on the website, no matter what season it is. And I have repurchased it, and I would recommend it to you, except I do have a little bit of bad news. As with most Goose Creek candles, the first 2/3 of it I really didn't have any problems with, but then the last third of it here, as you can see, is getting a little bit on the dark side. And actually, I think, I have my ring light sort of shining pretty bright on this. It looks a little bit darker to me than it's kind of showing up on camera here. And I did notice that the wax pool, once I got to about this point, was getting pretty swirly and murky. And in fact, by the time I was down to about 25% of the candle left, it was extremely dirty and gross and discolored. And I had to call it a day at this point. And that is just such a shame. And I really stay on top of limiting my burn times and trimming my wicks with Goose Creek candles, but this one got extremely dirty. The strength and throw on this was good though. I'd say in my more open space it's about a 6.5 or a 7, and in the bedroom it was around a 7 or a 7.5. However, since this candle is so the fragrance is in such a low register, it really doesn't pop off at you. You know what I mean? It's got a deep voice. And so sometimes you feel like you're almost struggling to hear it a little bit, but it's absolutely there. Sometimes I find that really bassy fragrances like this, you have a tendency to go a little bit nose blind to them. And I think that was happening a bit with this candle. I would kind of feel like, oh, where did the fragrance go? But then when I left the room and came back, I'd be like, oh, there it is. You know, it's a very sort of warm and deep and subtle fragrance, but there was definitely some strength and throw to it. It was a decent performer. It's just not one of those loud candles. You know what I mean? I think that this might be one of my favorite fragrances that I've tried from Goose Creek so far. Not gonna lie, I really love it. It is right up my alley. Yeah, there's something interesting about it, but at the same time, it's super pleasant and so warm and welcome. Yeah, totally gonna be a repurchase for me and a recommendation for you. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. Anyways, that's all I've got for you today, folks. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. You can follow me on Instagram at allabootcandles and email your burning questions to allabootcandles@gmail.com. If you could hit me up with a like, a comment, subscribe to my channel, that would mean the world to me. And until next time, my dear, gorgeous, and beautiful candle-loving friends, let's burn some candles and bitch about it. Thanks, you guys. Bye for now.